Okay. Well, hi there, guy. Somebody asked me about the following. He has two databases, and he wants to copy the information from one database to the second. So here we have the source database. Okay. For the sake of example, it has only one table. Okay, and it contains ID and name. And we have the second database. It has similar architecture, but the information is missing here. So what he wants to do, he wants to propagate the changes in this database to this one. Okay, so well, there's an option called replication, but I don't know if it's available for access. I don't think so. This is first, and second, I never worked with replication, so I can't use that even if I wanted to. So there are other solutions, other methods to address such kind of problem, I guess. Okay, so I think there are three ways. The first method is to copy all the information in the first table into the second table, which is here. In other words, you wipe out the old information here and you make a complete copy. Okay, obviously this will not be very efficient, especially if you're having a very large database. Anyway, so I'm going to demonstrate this first method, and I'm going to also talk about the other methods. So let's go here. We have our application. So here I'm going to say, let's say this is the button. I'm going to say copy source to destination. There we go. So copy source to destination. Let's say copy source to destination and method A. Okay, and of course, as I told you, method A will blindly remove the other database and then copy. So let's see how to do that. I'm sorry. So open two connections, but first let's say try define two connections. So dimension C1 as new connection, LADB connection. There we go. And here I need to specify the connection string. I already copied this one here. Okay, so this is the connection string. It's on the desktop. Okay, I can make it, anyway, it's alright. So this is for the sake of simplicity. Okay, this is the first one, or let's say I'm going to call this com. Okay, Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V, and this is the second one, and this is going to be the destination. There we go. So we have the source and destination. I'm gonna open the connection, and then con1 dot begin transaction, open, open, and then con2 dot open. Okay, let me just try that, and then message box ex dot message. There we go. Let's try this out, and click here, and it seems to be working. Okay, so this is the first method. We just open the connection. Now we need to go to the next step. Okay, begin transaction. Okay, and dimension trans1 equal con1 dot begin transaction, and dimension trans2 equal con2 dot begin transaction. So what are we gonna do? Well, we want to first wipe out the information in the second database. So first clear the information in the second DB. So how do we do that? Well, dimension CMD CMD as, let's say, new command. What's this? Let me see. OLADB command. Okay, so let me set the parameters here. So let me see. First we need to provide the command text. So it's going to be delete. Gosh, what's wrong with me? Delete from. And our table is called, let me see, the table is called names. Okay, that's it. Delete from names. Okay, and I need to provide also the connection. So it's going to be com2. I want to remove the information from the, in the destination database in order to make it ready for the new set of information. I want to get the what's available in the destination database. Okay, and here I'm gonna add trans2. Make sure you select the correct one. Okay, anyway, so this will remove the information. cmd.execute the query. Okay, so this removes the information, and now what should we do? We should get every record from the first table and insert it to the second. Okay, now let's say query the source. Okay, let me here cmd dot dispose. There we go, dispose. Okay, so I'm releasing the resources here. So here I'm gonna query the resource. So here cmd equals another new oladb dot oladb command, but this one is going to be different. I'm going to now work on the source and the query the table. So select, oops, it's going to be select star from names. Okay, so what this is going to do, this is going to get me all the results for this table. Okay, and here I'm working on the source, of course. So this is going to be what? This is going to be connection 1 and the transaction 1. Okay, and hit enter. So obviously now I open the connection for the first one. Next I need to execute this one, but I'm gonna get a result set. So dimension result set equal cmd dot execute reader, right? So oladb data reader. Okay, execute reader. Okay, now this one will hold the information, and now I can loop on each row, get its information and insert it to the destination table. So do while result set dot read. Okay, as long as there are values to read, I'm gonna do some work here. Read values and insert to destination. Okay, and finally I'm gonna say result set dot close and cmd dot dispose. Okay, let me see. I think this is result set dot dispose. It just has to close. Okay, never mind. So this is the first thing. I haven't written this part, so here dimension v1 a string, let's say. Okay, I can use string, no problem. I can use string to store the value, and the name of the variable doesn't matter. So this is going to be what? Result set. I love to call this a result set dot oops, item. Okay, and here I can pass it the name of the column. Okay, I need to know the name of the column here. So the name of the column, the first one is ID, the second one is person name. So let's go here. This is gonna be what? This is gonna be ID. Okay, let me give this a proper name, ID, and dimension person name as string equal result set dot item of person name. There we go. Okay, so I've just read the information, and now I'm ready to insert it to the second table, the one with destination. So here I'm going to say dimension cmd2 as a new oladb dot db comment. Okay, so the same thing will go here, but this time we are inserting it to the destination, so it's going to be insert into names, id, person name, values, and here I'm going to say colon 0, colon 1. And Microsoft Access uses colon, SQL Server uses the symbol at. It's sometimes get confusing. Anyway, so after that I need to pass the connection of the destination, because we want to work on the destination. So this is going to be connection to transaction 2. Okay, make sure to set these right. And yeah, okay, now we need to set the values for the ID and the name parameter. So cmd2 dot parameters dot add with value. Okay, and this is going to be column 0, this is going to be ID, cmd2 dot parameters dot add with value, and this is going to be what, column 1, this is going to be person name. And finally we need to execute. Insert into destination. There we go. And here sorry, here I'm gonna say cmd2 dot execute non-query. Okay, so this will do what? This is gonna execute the insert a statement. After that I'm gonna say cmd2 dot dispose to release the resources. And after okay, so let's have a look. These steps from here up to here will just copy a single table. You need to repeat the same thing for every table, usually starting with the masters and ending with the details. For the destination table, for the destination database, you need to clear the destination database starting from the details and ending with the master tables. Keep that in mind. Okay, so finally we need to commit the transaction. So trans2 dot commit. We don't need to commit any transaction for the first one. And finally we just close the connections. Okay, so here we have con1 dot close and con2 dot close. There we go. I think trans1 dot dispose. Yeah, I guess so. Yep. And the trans2 dot dispose. There we go. We're disposing these two, and this should be it. Okay. So before I run, let me save this. Let me show you the information. This is the source. This is the source, because you can see the name here is source, and it has some information. Let me show you the destination. This is the destination, and it has nothing. So let's run the code and see if it works. Go and click. Syntax error from. Okay, let's see, what did I do wrong here? Okay, what did I do wrong? Did from, yeah, names, right? What did I call this table? Okay, I think we put a breakpoint. This is very bad. Go here. Let's see, what am I doing wrong here? Go here, begin the first transaction, second transaction, delete from names. Okay. What? Okay. Okay, I wonder what am I doing here? Transaction. Wait a minute. Okay, that's weird. Am I writing something wrong here? Yeah. Yeah. That's very weird. Let me put these square brackets. Okay. And run that again. Let's see. 10 of 10 of 10. Go. Okay, so I need to put these square brackets. So for some reason these are important. Okay, so so this part deleted the destination table. Next, I start reading the information, and here I think I might need that. Open the square bracket. It seems that I always select a table name that's related to the system or data dictionary, and this is causing problems. Anyway, so as you can see, we inserted the first record, we inserted the second record, and so on. Okay, and now I run that, and okay, it's done. So let's have a look at the destination now, and the destination is like this, right? The identical to the source. So let me change that. Oops, let me change that to some numbers. Okay, so now I changed the destination, and it's totally different, right? This is destination. Okay, and now I run this again, and I click here. Oops, just wrong. 5. Okay, and it is done. Now if I open the destination, it's identical to the source. Again, this is the first method. Let me stop the recording and show you in a minute the second method. Okay, so let's continue now with the second technique to use. Well, the second technique is a little bit different. Instead of wiping out all the data, you could, for example, track the changes that you create on the first database. Now, in order to do that, your program must do that by itself. Okay, this is not that easy, but let's work on this for a while. Okay, so first, in order to allow ourselves doing that, let's see. So we have, this is the sources, this is the source database, and it has the names table. And now we are going to add a functionality, or let's say another table, I'm sorry, for tracking. So here I'm going to say create another table. This is going to be what? This is going to be ID, okay, and this is going to be what? It's of type integer, okay. Oops, this is going to be number. Okay, no problem. Or maybe make it auto increment, something like that. Auto number. Okay, that's great. Okay, this is gonna be the primary key, and here this is gonna be, for example, what would that be? This is gonna be operation. Okay, operation. This is going to be text, okay, or maybe you want to use a number for that. And what the operation column will be used to, this is going to tell you if a row must be updated or deleted. Okay, so here I'm going to say operation, and here this is going to be what? This is going to be key, okay. And this is the key of the names table. Okay, so for, I can save this, I'm going to call it to track. Now, what does this mean? What does this table means? Okay, what are we going to do is, at the moment we add a new record, let's say add 4, and we say this is John, okay. Then in the track table we say we added a record and its primary key value is 4. This is what it means. Okay, and then let's go back here, and then let's say I come back here and remove the second remove this record with the ID 2. So I go back next, I say remove, and the key value is 2. And and then let's say I go to this record and modify it and say, oh, oops, for example, and I say here update, and the record is 3. Okay, so when we want to synchronize, instead of copying this whole table, we are going just to track the changes. So if we find the value 1, if we find the command add, we know that this is a new record, so we copy that row and execute execute the add command or the remove command and stuff like that. Okay, so well, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna save this. Okay, well, yeah, maybe I need to clear this one. Okay, and also, okay, I can't get back the values, right? Yeah, I'm gonna make this 2, 3, and now the track. Okay, so this is ready. Now we need to go to the coding part, and this will require extra coding. So I'm gonna save this. Oops, I forgot the structure of the table. Maybe I should keep this open. Okay, so let's go to our code here. Let's go to the form, and this is gonna be method A. Okay, this is method A. Now we are gonna work on method B. Copy and say paste. Okay, and this is gonna be what use tracking table to synchronize. There we go. Use tracking table to synchronize. Now obviously if I run this example, I don't have any values to do any kind of synchronization, so I might need to let's say add few values, remove few records, something like that. So for the sake of example, I'm gonna well, you know what, let's make this a little bit better. Well, I guess it will be worth it to. Okay, sync method A. There you go. Okay, I'll put these. Okay, let's make this a little bit more organized. This is the first one. Let's create another group box, sorry. And this is gonna be sync method B. Okay, so this is gonna be something like that. Come on. Okay, and the reason I'm grouping these because I'm gonna put few commands here. Instead of tracking, this is gonna be add random number of rows. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna put a few buttons, one for adding random values, one for removing and stuff like that. So here, adding random number of rows, so I'm gonna double click that. There we go. Again, I'm gonna open the connection with the first database. Oops. Go here, Control V. Okay, try catch. Yeah, let's make exception. msg box, gosh, msg box e dot message. There we go. And try. There we go. Okay, so we open a connection here, and next define a connection, and next I am gonna say dimension trans 1 equal con1 dot begin transaction. I'm sorry, and then I'm gonna start a loop. So loop, okay, and here I'm going to say for I equals 0 to, let's say, 100. I'm going to insert 99 rows. Okay, so I'm going to copy some of the code over here. Control C. It's much better if I do it here. It's going to be... Okay, there we go. So we have a command here, and insert into blah blah blah. This is going to be connection 1, transaction 1. Okay. For the ID, I will use something like that. Dimension ID as string equal system dot environment dot tick count. Okay, and usually this represents the timer of the computer, and because of that it's gonna increase all the time, so it will be like generating a random key, and it will be number, so no problem, I guess, with that. We're gonna see if will this work or not. So dimension name, as for the name, a string, I'm gonna say equal name and ID. Okay, so the name I'm gonna make it like that. Okay, and this is gonna be what, ID, and this is gonna be name. Okay, so I'll be inserting these, and finally I'm gonna say trans dot commit, and then finally con1 dot close. Okay, now there is one problem, and the problem is that we did not track what we have just did. Okay, so this part, insert the record, but this part needs to be track the insertion. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, if we look at this one, what we need to do is just tell what the operation is and what the primary key is. So here I'm gonna use something very similar again. I'm gonna use peace. So again, cmd equals new, insert into, the name of the table is what? Track, right? It's called, it's called the track, and we want to insert into operation and key. Insert into track, what's here? Operation, key, values. Okay, so what is the operation? The operation is gonna be what? Add, okay, or insert. And the key value is the ID. And this is it. This is it. Okay, so let's try it out. This code will only do one thing. It will insert record, but will also track these records. So let's run this here. Okay, seems about good. And run that. And let's click here. Bad operation connections close. Okay. Seems I did something wrong, so let's see what did I do wrong here. So click here. I'm sorry. And oops. Oh, I forgot to open the connection. Yeah. And click here. obviously con1.open. Yeah, so I open this guy. This is the ID, and this is going to be the name. This is how the name is. I insert the first one, I insert tracking information, and I get an error. Syntax: insert track operation key values. Wait a minute. Syntax error. Insert into track. Come on. TRACK. Okay, it doesn't have to be between square bracket. This is strange. I don't remember that it required that, but yeah, currently locked. Okay, no problem. Just close it, run it again. Sorry. Go. Syntax errors. Search into. What's the error? What's the error in here? Insert into track operation. Okay, maybe. Gosh. I think a key is also another reserved word. I'm guessing so. Yeah. I know what's going on here. So I need to put some kind of delay. The execution is so fast that the tick count get you the same values, I think. Yeah. So here I'm gonna say plus I multiplied by 10,000, something like that. Okay. So I'm gonna do something like that, and you know, just to generate some kind of random number. This is very bad. Anyway, click here, and now it's working. So the error was that the column name key, I shouldn't use key because it's a reserved keyword. Anyway, so this got executed, but what are the results? Well, if we double click on the names, you can see that these are the IDs, okay, and these are the names. So you can see name with the ID value, okay. Not totally random, but I guess you get the idea. So if we go to the track table, what do we have? Wait a minute. Double click on track again. So you can see here we have add operation with the key value. Okay, so these are these are the tracking table. Okay, so let's go and see how we can make use of this. Yeah, no problem. If we go to the destination, okay, what we want to do, we don't want to remove anything or insert the rest of the reinsert these records. Instead, we want to make a duplicate using the tracking table. Okay, so let's work on that now. So here I'm gonna say copy and paste. I'm gonna say sync. Go. Sync method B. Sync method B. This is the second way to do it. Okay, save that, and I'll stop the video and start again. Just a minute. Okay. So again, we are gonna work on this synchronization. So again, I'm gonna do a few things here. I'm gonna copy some of the code. Not all the code, but some of it, I guess. Well, I will copy all of it at first, and then I will modify it. Okay, where's that? Go here, double click here. So let's work on this. We open these two connections. I don't delete anything. Now, wait a minute. Deletion command, yeah. dimension command, the new OLEDV. Okay, so here instead of querying the the names table, I'm gonna query the track table, okay, and order the result, order by ID. Okay, so if you have a look, if you have a look at the tracking table, you can see it's ordered, the ID give you the order of the execution, right? So the records are should be inserted in this order. Okay, so I'm gonna order these by the ID. Let's go back to this guy. Okay, so order by ID, okay, and execute reader. Okay, so here what we want to do, we are going to do something a little bit different. Okay, so here the operation, get the operation. Okay, so dimension op string equals result set dot item of operation. Okay, and and dimension what? Dimension key a string equal result set dot item of what? This is gonna be key. This is the name of the column, key. Okay, so now based on the operation and key, you are gonna either query your source again or execute an operation directly on the destination. This is how we do it. So if op equals add, this means we added a record. This is our first case. Then we are going to create another command, dimension cmd3. Let me copy this again. Sorry about that. Copy this again and change it. Dimension cmd3 equals new OLED command 6 from what? 6 from names where ID equal at 0 or colon 0. Okay, and this is the primary key. And what I want to do, I'm gonna say cmd3.parameters.add with value for this parameter. I'm gonna put what? I'm gonna, okay, that's the key. So the key in the tracking table will be used to get to be passed for this query, and what this query does is gonna get me the record. It's going to get me the record with that specific key. Okay, and I already know, since this operation is add, I already know that this record must be inserted into the destination. So this is the first thing. Again, I'm gonna say dimension result set 2, okay, equals cmd3 dot execute reader. There we go. And I'm gonna say result set 2 dot read. I'm sorry. So I read this record, right? Okay. There is one thing here. Well, maybe later on you remove that record. So I'm gonna say if read, if a record is already there, then do the processing. Otherwise, don't. Okay. Because you might insert a record and then delete it, so the record will not be there, but the tracking will say that it is there, and you don't want to get errors in such case. So if you read a record, so dimension new ID, new RID string equal result set 2 dot item of ID, and dimension new R name string equal result set 2 dot item of what? This should be name what was the column name? Person name? Gosh. Yeah, person name. There we go. This is gonna be person name. Okay. And this is pretty much it. I need to insert now. So go here. Sorry. So insert into this table. So for the first one, I'm gonna say new RID, and this is gonna be new R name. Okay, so I'm sorry. So this is gonna get executed. The row will be inserted. After that, I'm gonna say result set to dot close, right, and cmd3 dot dispose. Okay, so let me check the code for the add. This is only the add. So I'm gonna execute the query and get the record. If the record is there, I'm gonna load the information, and yeah, yep, this is what needs to be done here. Okay, well, again, this is the code for the add operation. And next, let me see, result.read, and after that be a close result. Okay, well, there is another thing here. This is only the add command. You need to repeat the same thing for the delete command and the update. Okay, for the update command, instead of the insert, you will use an update here, passing all the parameter except for the primary key. Here I assume you are not changing the primary key at all. And for the delete command, you don't need to load anything, you just execute the delete command and that's it. The important thing is that after this get executed, you need to remove and clear the track table. So again, we will create another command. Okay, so here I'm gonna execute, where's that? Execute another command, but this time on the source. So here I'm gonna say cmd equals delete from track. And the reason we are doing this is because we executed all the tracking information, and now our destination table is an exact copy of the source, and because of that we need to clear everything here to make it ready for the new changes. Okay, so that we later on, when we take another when we perform another synchronization, we don't reinsert the previous values. Okay, so we do that, and then we say cmd.execute non-query, and we commit the changes for both table, trans1.commit and trans2.commit. Okay, and this should be for the second method. Let's try it out. I'm gonna run that and see how it goes. Sync. Probably I'm getting an error. Okay, now it worked. It seemed it worked. Okay, so let me show you now. This is the source. Okay, so you can see in the source the track information is all deleted. Okay, and the names, these are the names. Okay, this is the source, right? And if you remember the destination, this is the old value of the destination. I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna double click this again, and what do you see? Now it is an exact copy of the source. Okay, again, this code is not complete. You need to add here code that will process the update command and the delete command. Okay, and also when you are doing a delete or update operation, you need to add something like that for tracking the information. Okay, but instead of add here, you would say, let's say, update, okay, or delete. So again, this is a little bit of too much work just for a single table. Okay, it's better than the previous method, but it is not very efficient, because if you have, let's say, 50 tables, you will have to write a huge amount of code. So this is the second method. The third method, which I think is the best, is not to store add or delete or anything. Instead, you store the whole SQL statement. So if you are saying, let's say, insert into something, sorry, if you are saying insert into a specific table or delete from a specific table, the same command will get executed. The only issue is that you need to store the parameters aside. Okay, that one requires a little bit more work, but if you do it right, it's gonna work perfectly. So let's have a look at that. Let me stop recording and start again. Okay, so let's start on the third method. Now the third method is not, we can't start on it right away, but what we need to do is prepare something here. So here I'm gonna start by adding a module, okay, and I'm gonna say sync, or let's say SQL easy, for example, okay, because it will make our SQL statement execution a little bit easier. Okay, so first let's go back again into our source table, but this time we are gonna add another kind of track table. I will leave this for you guys as a reference, but I'm gonna create another table. So here I'm gonna say what? Table design, and it will have 2 columns. The first one is gonna be an ID. Okay, and this is gonna be an auto number, and usually this will record or track the SQL command in order, and this is going to be the SQL text. Okay, as simple as that. So here I'm going to say SQ track, let's say. There we go. So SQ track contains the ID and the SQL. Okay, and also we need to store the parameters. Well, yep. Okay, so for the parameters I'm going to create another table, okay, and this is going to be what? I'm going to say here PID, which is parameter ID. This is going to be also auto number, increasing order, of course, on the primary key, and this is going to be an ID, and this ID will be the SQ track ID. So let me put it like this: SQ track ID, and this is going to be number. There we go. And this is going to be parameter, param. This is going to be text. Okay, and I can say here SQ param. There we go. So SQ track, SQ param, these two guys. Close and close. So what we need to do next is add the code that will track these two guys. Sorry, will allow us to track these two guys. So let's go here. Okay. SQL. Sorry about that. Okay, so what we need to pass is the SQL command, or before that I would say con as oledb.oledb connection and tns as oledb.oledb transaction. Okay, and also pass what? I need to pass the SQL as string and param. Okay, so there we go. Let's go down. Okay, so what does this mean? I will pass the transactional connection along with the SQL command and the parameters into this function. Okay, as simple as that. Okay, so what should we do first? First, we need to insert the SQL command with its parameters into the database, and then we need to execute our SQL. So let's see how this goes. So dimension C1, I'm gonna say get insert the SQL into database. Dimension cmd as new oledb.oledb command. I need to say this: insert into, what's the name of the table? It's SQ track, and into the SQL column. SQ track into SQ track track SQL values colon 0. Oops. This is it. This is our command, and I need to pass the con and the tns, the transaction. Okay, and next I'm going to say cmd.parameters.add what? I need to add the, what's the parameter name here? Colon 0, and I need to pass the value SQL, the SQL statement that you want to execute. I'm gonna put that into the tracking table, and then cmd.execute non-query. Now, this is our first step. Next, since this is access, there is no easy way for you to get the value of the ID here, since it's auto-generated, and we are gonna need that because we need to use it here later on. Okay, so how do we do that? We are gonna query the database. So I'm gonna say cmd.dispose, and then cmd equals new oledb command, select max ID from SQ track, and that's it. Okay, this will get you the maximum ID, and dimension ID as string equals cmd.execute scalar. There we go. And cmd.dispose. Okay, so insert SQL, get the ID from DB. Okay, so I inserted the SQL, I got the ID, and now I'm ready to insert the parameters. Okay, and the parameters are stored here as an array. Oops, array param. There we go. Gosh, p string, I think. Wait a minute. Oops. Something like that. param. I think, let me see. Yeah, string. I'm sorry. So if you say param array and you put the name with brackets or something like that, what's gonna happen is that you can specify a number of parameters to this SQL state to this function. Okay, let me check that it's being defined correctly. Sorry. Yeah, params. So next, insert the SQL parameters into the database. Okay, now we're gonna insert the SQL parameters into the database, the second table. Okay, and this is also easy. Dimension I as integer for I equals 0 to what's gonna be? It's gonna be to param dot count minus 1. Again, cmd equal new oladb dot oladb command, and here what are we gonna say is what? Insert into now the name of the second table, and it's seq param, seq track id param. Okay, seq param, seq track id followed by param. Okay, I hope you're not getting confused with these values. Okay, but once you see it working, it will be very clear for you guys. Column 0 and column 1. Okay, there we go. So we have this guy, and then we are gonna add the parameters. So cmd dot parameters dot add with value, and here I'm gonna put the ID of the SQL in the database. cmd dot parameters dot add with value column 1 param of I, and finally cmd dot execute non-query cmd dot dispose. Okay, so we finished inserting the value, and now we are ready to execute the actual SQL statement. Okay, so execute the SQL now. Okay, so again cmd equal new oladb command. I'm gonna pass the SQL contns. Okay, and then for I equals 0 to param dot count minus 1, and then cmd dot parameters dot add with value and I comma param of I. There we go. So I have these, and I add the parameters, and finally I'm gonna cmd dot execute non-query. Okay, and yeah, finally cmd dot dispose. If everything goes fine, I'm gonna say tns.commit, for example. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna commit the transaction, and yeah, maybe I will not commit the transaction. I will allow the user to commit the transaction if they would like to. Okay, so I will put a try catch code here. So if the statement executes successfully, return true. If it does not, return false. So if it does not, I'm gonna roll back the operation. So how we are going to use this? Well, it's gonna be easy. Double click here. Let me add a group box here. Method C, sync method C. There we go. I'm sorry. Control V. track SQL. Okay, so here let's go something like this. Oops, not this one. Okay, so we have this button, open transaction, Ctrl C. Okay, so this opens a transaction. Now I'm gonna execute an SQL statement. If SQL easy dot execute SQL. So first, what's the connection? I'm gonna pass the connection. What's the transaction? Trans1, and then I'm gonna pass the SQL. I'm gonna write the SQL here. Insert into, for example, names. Okay, values. Oops, names. Open that. What's gonna be person name, right? This is gonna be values colon 0, and now you can see this parameter array, so I can specify a number of parameters. For example, I'm gonna put the name A, or let me use an input box. Enter name. Okay. So if this goes well, then okay. If this executes successfully, then this part will get executed. I'm gonna say trans.commit. Okay. Else trans1.rollback. Okay, because we got some kind of error. Okay, and then trans1.dispose and connection1.close con1.dispose. There we go. So it's very easy. This is a SQL statement, and sorry, okay, this is a SQL statement. Insert into table name the parameter, the columns, and the values. Okay, and here the value, I am gonna read the value from the screen. Okay, and pass it to the SQL. Okay, so let's see how this works. I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna run this. I hope it will work. Oops, error. Sorry about that. Okay, let's try again. And track SQL. Hi. Okay, not sure if this worked, but let's see. Yeah, it didn't work actually. So maybe I need to track this in a minute. Okay, so click here, put the word hi. Okay, so the SQL is our SQL, and execute. What's the problem? Syntax error, insert into statement. Come on. I think also execute track. This is strange. I think all the names I used today are keywords somehow. Gosh, what's wrong with me? Okay, let me run this again. Click here. Hi. Okay. Okay, so SQL is also a keyword, so you cannot use that. Okay, and now, oh gosh, connection property has not been initialized. Select max ID. Oops. Another mistake. A million mistake, right? Yeah. So I forgot to set the connection and the transaction. Don't forget these guys. Okay. So here. Okay, this one worked. No problem. And then insert into. Yeah. I hope the word params is not a keyword. Come on. Oops. And also I forgot this guy. Lots of mistakes today, TNS. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Anyway, so run this again. Click for the millionth time. Hi, again. F10. Wait. Click this again. Few use, okay. Let's make sure this works. Insert. Okay, no problem. And then it's gonna execute this SQL. What's the problem here? Index of primary key cannot contain null. Ah. Okay, no problem. So okay, so it seems let's go to the names. Oh, the ID is not auto-generated, I'm sorry. So the ID, I need to specify this in the SQL statement. So this is going to be ID, comma, person name, and this is going to be colon 1. As for the ID, I'm going to use system.environment.takeCount. There we go. This will get me a random number. Okay, let's go this. Let's run this again and click here. I'm gonna say, please work. Okay, let's try this now. F10, 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 and okay, and it worked. Okay, so this worked. Now I'm gonna execute it a few times to make you see what's happening. Hi there. Oops. Testing. Again, testing. Okay. So two times testing and stuff like that. So let's see what just happened. So I'm gonna close these tables. Let's go to the names. If we go to the end, you can see this is the please work. Okay, because I made a ton of mistakes, and this is the hi there, testing. Now if you go to the SEQ track table, what do you see? You're gonna see the SQL used to perform the change on the database. So here we have SQL that changes the database, right? And as for the parameters, if we go here, you can see that 3 and 4, these two parameters are being used with the SQL statement number 5, which is here. Okay, and so on. So let's try to add. Let us try and add another statement. So let's try to add a delete statement. Yeah. Wait a minute. I'm gonna say insert. Make this insert. Let's make one for delete. This one here. I'm gonna call this delete. There we go. Double click that, and here copy this code. There we go. Instead of this, I'm gonna delete by specific name. So delete from names, where person name equals colon 0. Okay, so I'm gonna remove based on a specific person name. I'm gonna enter the name and it's gonna get deleted. Okay, so let's see how this goes. So I'm gonna save this. Run now. Delete, please. Smith. Go. So let me close this. Let me have a look at our. Sorry, I need to close these. Oops. Oh. Let's go to the names now. You can see Smith is being deleted, and the please. No, the testing part I need to remove. The testing I didn't specify the testing. Okay, let me do this again. Delete testing. Go. Let's go back here. Close this again. Open it again. And the testing is gone. And if we go to the track table, you can see that the SQL statements now say delete these, and these are the parameters, right? So now, if we want to synchronize this database with the other, all we need to do is actually execute these SQL statements in order, and I have the parameter for each SQL statements. Okay, so this is 3 and 4. This is the first parameter for SQL 5, number 5, and this is the second parameter for SQL number 5. Okay, and so on. So now let's work on the synchronization part. Okay, so now this is the last part where we are going to do the synchronization, and the synchronization is actually straightforward, not that difficult. Okay, so here I'm gonna say sync. There we go. It's gonna be a little bit similar to this guy over here. I'm gonna copy the code and then oops, right, I'm gonna copy this guy, and don't worry, I will explain what's happening here. Go sync. Okay, so what are we gonna do? We are gonna open the two databases, and then instead of actually for the first table I need to open the tracking information, and the tracking table is called SQ track. There we go. So select star from SQ track, and I need to order that by ID. Okay, the SQL statement must get executed by the ID. This is very important. Okay, so this get executed, I'm gonna go here, and I need to get the key value or the ID. I'm gonna call this SQL ID, and okay, so let me make sure that I'm using the correct names. So this is ID, right? Okay, so this is the first thing. Now as soon as I get this ID, I need to get the SQL as well. So I'm gonna say dimension SQL text a string equal result set dot item of SQL. There we go. So far so good, no problem, right? Now I need to load the parameters. Get the parameters. Okay, here I don't need to check the operation because the SQL specifies what the operation is. So I'm gonna use this CMD3, for example. Select star from now the second table is called what? The parameters. SQ param. So this is gonna be what? From SQ param. Okay, and I want to filter that based on the SQL ID, and it's called here, the column here. I am using a different column names. What you need to do, you need to use a constant naming. I didn't do that here, sorry about that. I was kind of doing things quickly, and I didn't pay attention to organizing things. Anyway, so let's change this to this. Okay, so this is the first thing you want to filter by the SQL ID, and also you want to order the values by parameter ID, by the primary key, because the order of parameters is important. Okay, so far so good. And then I need to pass the SQL SQL text. There we go. And then I'm gonna say here execute reader. Okay, I'm not sure, but I think I could get dot get. Can I get the row count? I can't seem to. Okay, so the thing here, I need to pass an array. Okay. Okay, before I continue further, now this SQL is gonna require a command to get executed for the destination. So I'm gonna say here dimension cmd2, right? As new oladb dot oladb command. Now the SQL is gonna be SQL text, and this is gonna be connection 2 because we want to work on the destination, and transaction 2. Okay, so this is gonna be the second command. I just need to set the parameters. So here dimension p number as integer equals 0. There we go. So I need to get the parameter value. So the name of the column for the parameter is called param. Okay, so here let me go back. What do I need to do here? Param, a string called param. There we go. And now I'm gonna add this parameter here. So I'm gonna say cmd2.parameters.add with value. I'm gonna put a colon and I'm gonna put p and o. There we go. And I'm gonna say param. Okay, so this is the parameter, and then p and o. Wait a minute. P and o dot equals p and o plus 1 to get the next parameter. Okay. Yes. Oops. Yeah. So when all of this is ready, I close these commands, and now my command, which is command 2, where is that? Where is that? This is command 2. The one that that will work on the second database is ready. So I'm going to say cmd2.execute many query cmd2.dispose. Okay. And this is pretty much it. And finally, you need to clear the tracking table as before. Same thing. So here, delete from, what's the name of the table? SQ param. Delete from SQ parameter. This is the first guy. And the second one, SQ track. There we go. Okay, so now because I'm guessing you're gonna need to work with this, I'm gonna rename this variable to make it a little bit more obvious. Source connection. Okay, this will be much better, I guess. Rename destination connection. Okay. Rename transaction connection. Source transaction, and this is going to be renamed destination transaction. There we go. So we have the source and destination transaction, and this is going to be what? SQL command rename S for source, SQL command source SQL command. There we go. And for this guy, rename this is going to be destination SQL command. Okay, just making things a little bit more clear. Source SQL parameters params. There we go. Okay, so the reason for all of this is just to make these a little bit better to understand. Sorry, I used a little bit of bad naming here, but anyway, I guess this one's now makes much more sense. So before I run this, let's have a look. So open these two connections, the source and destination. Next, begin the transaction. Okay, no problem with that. Next, we're going to use the source SQL command. I'm going to select star from the SQL track order by ID. Okay, and I'm going to get the ID of the SQL statement and the text. I'm going to create a command based on that SQL text. Okay, and next I'm going to do what? I'm going to query the other table for the parameters. I will pass the SQL parameter, the SQL ID I got, and also I need to order the values by the primary key. Okay, and next I'm gonna set the parameter here. Wait a minute, I did something wrong here, right? Yeah, this should be the SQL ID. I'm sorry. This is the SQL ID, not the SQL text. And then I'm gonna execute the reader in order to get the parameters. So I read the parameter, I go to the destination command and pass it the parameter number and increase the counter of the parameter. Okay, so that it will be column 0, column 1, and so on. And this is pretty much it. And finally, after everything's done, I'm gonna execute the query, and that's it. Okay, so let me trace this first, make sure it works before I give it a wild run. So run here and press sync. There we go. So F10, open these two connections, open these two guys. So now I'm getting the first SQL. There we go. And it's gonna be an insert statement, and the command is now set. We need to set its parameters, obviously. So I'm gonna run the second to get the I'm gonna get the parameters. So the first parameter is, this is the ID, as you can see here. I'm gonna set the first parameter. Okay, what was the SQL? Let me see. I need to make, gosh, this is too wild. Loop. I'm sorry. So this is the first parameter. Okay, and now I'm gonna, okay, this is the second parameter. Okay, this is the second parameter, as you can see. And now it's okay. I close that, and now I execute and dispose. So first one got executed, second one will have the same thing. I get the parameters. Okay, and now execute the second statement, and the third one, as you can see, and also the next one. Go my friend. Okay, so it's working. If I run, okay, yeah, and I suppose it's working fine. So let me go and show you this. So you can see the parameters are all deleted, the SQL tracking information are gone. However, you see that Smith is gone, and the please work and stuff, sorry, not please work, testing is gone. Now if we go to the destination table, this source, this is the destination. There we go. This is the destination. You can see this value is deleted. Okay, and also, yeah. So let me close this. Open this again. So we have an identical database now. And what's cool about the second method, although it requires a little bit of more work, is that once we did this work, once we did these two modules, this is the synchronization module, and the and this one, execute SQL, This is all you need for your database. If you have 100 tables in your database, this kind of synchronization technique will work. Okay, unlike the first two methods. The first two methods will require extra work and it will be annoying, but the second method is the third method, the last one I did, is probably best. Now there is a drawback, of course. The tracking information means it's similar to duplicating the database, because what you are doing here, what you are doing here is that whenever you are doing an insert statement, you are storing the SQL of the statement, you are storing the parameters, and this will make the execution of updates and deletes and inserts a little bit slower on your database, but usually you will not notice these changes. Yeah, so I guess that's it for the example. I hope you'll find this useful. I will upload this sample of code into the website, and I hope you'll find this useful. If you have questions, send them to notes@mka-soft.com. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Bye bye.